Hello there. This is just a wee short one. I just want to have a wee, just make a couple of points on things that I've been seeing. This is just going to be very short because obviously I'll be live this evening. For anybody that's interested this evening, I shall be globe bashing this evening and globe bashing or bashing Globe Zealots this evening. So all are welcome, Globe Zealots included, for anybody that wants to have a discussion on some of the points that I'm going to focus on. But that's a whole other topic. Right now I just want to talk a wee bit about this coronavirus thing. And obviously, there's always, knock-on effects. This is just going to be very short because obviously it'll help you. I don't watch mainstream TV. I don't really pay much attention to any of the mainstream stuff, but obviously with this kicking off, I've had a wee interest in it. So last night I was watching BBC News at 10. Now I tried to get the footage from that, but I just can't get access to it. I don't know if anybody knows what it is. And what it's talking about, is the after effects, obviously, of this corona stuff. What I heard last night and what I seen last night was basically military style operations within the police force. Anybody that knows the police have now been given new powers in regards to the coronavirus. So what they were showing last night was, a couple of situations. They were showing some training type situations of new recruits and how they would train them. Then they went on to display a situation in Perth, I think it was, where you had police officers, approaching some guy. Now the rhetoric, if you go to pay attention to some of these things, they'll say that the guy who the antagonist was claiming he had coronavirus, so the police officers were acting on what this guy was professing. But for me, it's part of the NLP because they have to subtly induce fear within people so that people will comply with the apparent demands that the government are making in regards to this coronavirus. Now, we can have a wee look at some of the obvious glaring contradictions with this thing. They came out at the beginning telling us that it's not going to affect everybody. We're only concerned with the vulnerable, that being the elderly and people with respiratory diseases. Respiratory diseases and the elderly always have issues. One of the things about the elderly is that you're robbing them from their daily exercise. These people think that it's being demanded of them that they stay at home when it's really a request. Because remember, we're talking legality here, we're not talking about law. Okay, so it's by consent. And again, the police are making these statements that the police by consent. So when you take an elderly person's, apparently take away their freedom to have their hobbies, their activities, their fresh air, the stimulus, the very things that prolong their life, you're going to start having issues. People will become depressed, especially the elderly. They'll become isolated and they will lose the will to live. So that's what's going to happen in regards to the elderly. But back to the police aspect and this, policing by consent. As I alluded to, they showed an example of some guy in Perth being approached by the police and the police given these new powers, and it's NLP to give you the impression that they are some authoritative power and that they have made a demand on you, and if you do not comply to that demand, then you're going to jail or some punishment. What you need to understand is that that's not the case. All this behaviour that you're seeing from people is not being demanded of them. It's willful. It's consent. There is no demand being, put to anybody. Right? The police do police by consent. Now they can police by consent in regards to consensus. So what people need to be aware of is that you can still go about your business. And if anybody that's ever been involved in the free man stuff, lawful, legal, blah, blah, some of the language. But again, as I pointed out before, you're not dealing with idealistic type scenarios. You're dealing with human beings who have egos, who are on a power trip and now they've been given, more apparent authority in their mind. So you have to be very cautious about what how you're going to approach these things. But one of the other concerning aspects as I was watching this was they started to make statements. I know I'm jumping about, but I'm going to try and tie it together here. they started to make statements in regards to, now they're saying you cannot go to scenic type settings. You can't drive in your car, or you can't drive in your car to take your dog to a scenic place to go a walk. Right, now we're really getting to the crux of what's actually going on here, because stuff like that has got fuck all to do with keeping people safe or any real concerns for them. It's an exercise in control to see if people are going to bow and accept it. So I encourage you not to accept it. Do not bow to any of this crap. Telling people that they cannot go in their car, isolated in their car with their dog or their family, to a scenic place to go and have exercise is an absolute fucking shambolic contradiction. While at the same time, they're allowing people to go to supermarkets, go to, other places. Police officers are walking about and side by side, congregating. They're also showing a drone being utilised in regards to people who are out in scenic areas, and the drone approaching them, giving them warnings about where they should be and where they shouldn't be. This is where people should start getting alarmed at what's actually being exercised here, because it's got fuck all to do with people getting the sniffles. As Anne Flatter Female put it quite rightly earlier, do people really believe that because apparently somebody ate a bat, the whole fucking world shuts down? I mean, you have to be seriously fucking retarded. Seriously fucking retarded if that's what you actually believe. But they use fallacious, appeals yet again, trying to play on people's emotions, disguising it by it's for the good of all, it's for the good of all. It's not for the good of all. There's a few things happening here. One for me is the economy is going to be collapsed. It's part of the New World Order. Anybody that's been looking into it knows the plan. So how are you going to achieve that? How are you going to disguise all the holes in the monetary system that have been here? From the banks to corrupt politicians to all the corruption within. You have to collapse it by some random event of nature so that they then go off scot-free, because this is going to disguise the other holes that are there. Not only that, people are forgetting about all the other aspects of the paedophile rings and other corruption, not to mention the very fact that they've been lying to us about the very fucking house that we think we live in, that being the world. So, telling people they can't go in their car and go for a walk in a scenic destination has got fuck all to do with protecting people's health. We're talking about the sniffles here. They told you at the very beginning, I'm not a liar, they told you at the very beginning that 90% of people need not to concern themselves. Worst case scenario, you're going to get mild symptoms of a sniffy, runny nose, which you get at the turn of the seasons anyway. Now all of a sudden, they're trying to lock down everybody and making these ridiculous, idiotic demands that are just pathetic. Totally and utterly fucking pathetic. And when you see people jumping to it, like they think they're going to get a fucking gold star, because we're dealing with infantile, childlike mindsets here, people. This was instilled at them from nursery school and primary school. This arse-licking of authority. Yes, I will jump through your hoops. Give me a gold star. Can I get 4.5 gold stars? Look at me, I'm such a good listener. Lazy, apathetic bastards. Use your fucking common sense, your own fucking brain. If there really was an issue, you would shut the whole fucking thing down instantly. No tippy-toe people into it. It's bad enough that people are isolating themselves in their homes, but now we're getting to the point of drones following you about when you go to scenic destinations to have some exercise and walk your animal. So, It's got fuck all to do. I'm going to keep reiterating this. It's got nothing to do with apparent wee aliens that are attached inside people, right? Wee fucking horrible looking aliens that when you sneeze it goes ooh and it jumps out and possesses somebody else and makes them all sick. Is that what you fucking really believe? People wonder why I get pissed off and angry. It's because of the fucking sheer levels of utter stupidity and ignorance that I'm witnessing. Back to the elderly people. Don't go and fucking visit them. While they're being isolated in their homes with no exercise and no fucking stimulus, you've not to go and visit them. Because again, they're appealing to emotions. No facts whatsoever. No, everybody's been tested. Nothing's really been established as any sort of fact yet. But you have to isolate the elderly in your family and then fucking ignore them. And you wonder why they're going to die. When I go out and I go to the park recently, I've seen some elderly people and I applaud them for getting out and going their walks. Fuck you, government. Fuck you and your fucking twisted, contorted, psychopathic fucking tendencies. Ram it right up your fucking baggy arses is what I say, and encourage everybody to have the same attitude of, because it's getting beyond a fucking joke. Don't ignore the elderly. Go and visit them. Make sure they're alright. Get them out in the fucking fresh air. Get them walking about. Partake in games with them. Keep them stimulated. If they have the will to live, that's what's required. So, as I say, you can find it yourself. Last night, so that would have been Friday, what's the date? The 27th, BBC News at 10, where they were showing you this stuff, and you get the police chief talking about policing by consent. You need to understand what that actually means. Okay? But at the same time, it still applies. Have I committed a breach of common law? No. Well, fucking mind your own business. Now, the way they word it and the way the propaganda machine portrays it to you in the TV is it's like it's a demand. Right? Sophistry yet again. So it seems to you that there's a demand and then repercussions. The repercussions are, threats from authority, but they're also utilising the consensus of the public and appealing to their emotions to try and chastise you. And that's going to start happening as well, because you're not complying to the fucking, the requests that are being made of you. You get these fucking morons who are little goody two-shoes, waiting for their fucking gold star, waiting to grass you, I'm telling you, you're not supposed to be outside. In case we aliens invade you and possess your body, and then you go and spread that to somebody else. Everybody's a chemist, everybody's a biology expert now. Well, at the same time, their elderly family members are fucking rotting away. Get fucked. That's all for this rant. As I said, I shall be back this evening to comprehensively go through the aspects of the globe and you as an individual and how you can discern and take part in that discussion. And I will I will be bashing the living fuck right out of globe cult zealots under utter stupidity and ignorance. So, please join me. I'm going to have fun.